William Stryker, the colonel, resolves to exterminate every mutant on the planet. Thus, he manages to subdue Magneto, the formidable mutant. Colonel William Stryker kidnaps Professor X and attacks his school by taking control of Magneto. The X-Men must team up with their bitter rival Magneto to stop him and save themselves and Xavier from Stryker. But how? Let's watch how and whether at least Stryker had an end in this movie or not. Through this movie recap of the film X2 X-Men United. Welcome to Movie Spotlight. A teleporting mutant named Nightcrawler makes an attempt to kill the US president in the White House, but a Secret Service member shoots him and he manages to flee. As insisted by Xavier in the X-Men movie, Logan searches an abandoned military facility in Alkali Lake, Alberta for hints about his past, but he discovers nothing. Jean Grey began experiencing premonitions and difficulty focusing as her ability became harder to control. Following the latest incident, military scientist Colonel William Stryker visits the president and gets permission to look into Xavier's mansion's connections to mutants. Mystic, personated as Senator Kelly, takes part and tries to know where Magneto has been imprisoned. Logan returns to the school and reunites with Rogue, her boyfriend Iceman, Cyclops, Storm, and Jean Grey. William Stryker meets imprisoned Magneto and injects something behind his neck. Then he takes control of him and gathers the information about Xavier's mansion and Mission Cerebro. Xavier uses Cerebro to track Nightcrawler. When Logan informs Xavier that the base is empty and can't find any clue related to his past, Xavier suggests that sometimes the mind needs to discover things for itself. Professor Xavier asks Logan to keep an eye on the kids in the school as Xavier and Cyclops go to inquire with the imprisoned Magneto about the incident, while X-Men Storm and Jean Grey go to rescue Nightcrawler. Meanwhile, Mystic sneaks into Yuriko's office and steals the details about Magneto's prison and the police officer who often visits Magneto. Jean and Storm rescue Nightcrawler and learn he consciously didn't attack the president but was controlled by someone. To find out if Magneto was involved in the attack on the president, Cyclops and Professor pay him a visit to his plastic jail. The professor learns from reading Magneto's thoughts that William Stryker, a secret government agent, has been gathering data from him. After a trap is set, Stryker and his helper, Yuriko Yuama, apprehend Cyclops and the professor. The expansion is raided by the Stryker's force, who sedate every pupil they discover. The plan, however, backfires when Colossus, Rogue, Iceman, Pyro, and most of the kids escape through a network of secret tunnels within the school. Wolverine retaliates, killing a significant number of Stryker's troops. During the attack, Logan faces Stryker, who refers to him as Wolverine and appears to know about his history. After Iceman reappears, he uses his power to build an ice wall to protect Wolverine from Stryker, and the two of them manage to escape via one of the tunnels. 6 students had already been put to sleep by Stryker's forces, but had also gained entry to Cerebro. Mystique sets a trap for police officers and injects him with a metal. Stryker's son Jason is a mutant with mind controlling abilities, and Stryker plans to use him to force Xavier to kill every mutant on the globe telepathically. Stryker had previously utilized Jason's abilities to stage Nightcrawler's attack as a ruse to acquire permission to infiltrate Xavier's mansion. Wolverine, Rogue, Iceman, and Pyro travel to Boston to visit Iceman's parents. The policemen enter Magneto's prison. As he enters, Magneto figures out that there's a lot of iron in his blood. Soon, Magneto kills him and makes some epic moves to escape the prison. Just as the group is about to leave, Bobby's brother Ronnie calls the police at 911. Pyro uses his ability to manipulate fire to ward off the cops, but Rogue carries him away and stops him from doing more harm. 2 Air Force fighter jets targets them when the X-Men jet arrives to pick them up. With Storm and Jean Grey's assistance, they can compel the pilots to eject, but they are stuck by a missile that hits them to bring them down. They only manage to survive because of Magneto's unexpected meddling. After that, Mystique and Magneto form a team with the X-Men. Magneto informs the group that Stryker has developed the second Cerebro and alerts the team that Charles' mind is connected to every living person on the planet through Cerebro. So, if he were forced to concentrate hard enough on a particular group, for example mutants, he could kill all of them. He also informs Wolverine that Stryker is the man who grafted adamantium onto his bones and is responsible for his amnesia. Magneto has discovered that Stryker was the mastermind behind the president's attack and has been conducting experiments on mutants by injecting a chemical right into the back of their necks to control them. After reading Nightcrawler's thoughts, Jean discovers that Stryker's headquarters is inside the dam at Alkali Lake, where he intends to construct a second Cerebro to exterminate all of the mutants on the planet. The X-Men chase Mystic, who manages to enter Stryker's base by posing as Wolverine and letting the remaining mutants in. Stryker takes command of the Professor via his son Jason. Because of his son's ability to create strong mental images that cause blindness, the Professor has been brainwashed to believe that Cerebro can be used to locate and eliminate all mutants. Nightcrawler and Storm look for the students who were abducted. While attempting to save the professor, Jean, Magneto, and Mystique are ambushed by a brainwashed Cyclops who also damages the generators that prevent them from falling. Cyclops is freed from his brainwashing by the force of Jean's telekinetic explosion. Logan remembers receiving his adamantium skeleton from Stryker, whom he finds in an adamantium smelting lab. Wolverine finds Stryker and Yuriko, who turns out to be Lady Deathstrike, in the same room. Stryker escapes the base knowing it's going to explode. Wolverine fights and defeats Deathstrike. On the other side, brainwashed Xavier almost targets every mutant and they have started to experience extreme pain except Magneto as he was wearing his helmet. After Mystique and Magneto detonate their grenades, killing the remaining members of Stryker's team and causing a dam break, Magneto stops Jason and the professor before the mutants are slain. He saves mutants, but on the contrary, as insisted by Magneto, Mystique uses Jason posing as Stryker to persuade the professor to kill all humans. Wolverine encounters Stryker escaping on the landing pad since the dam has ruptured. Logan pursues Stryker to a helicopter base where he tries to use his past experiences to bargain for Wolverine's life, but Logan ties him to the wheel and runs to save others. Now, Xavier has targeted every human and they have started to experience extreme pain. The kids are located by Storm and Nightcrawler, who then free them from their confinement. Then, using Stryker's chopper to flee Alkali Lake, Mystique, Magneto, and Pyro, their recent initiates, bind Stryker to concrete debris. In the meantime, Nightcrawler teleports Storm into Cerebro, where she releases the professor from his telepathic delusion by causing a snowfall. Then, as water engulfs the base, they all leave, only to find that Pyro, Mystique, and Magneto, who had earlier been persuaded to join them, have made their way out in the helicopter. Luckily, everyone boards the X-Jet when Iceman Rogue show up with it. Stryker is killed as the dam bursts fully, flooding the surrounding area. The X-Jet cannot take off due to malfunction. Jean gives herself up by exiting the aircraft and building a telekinetic wall to act as a barrier against the flood. She turns out on the X-Jet's main engines and lets the water rain down on her, presumably killing her. The president receives Stryker's data from the X-Men, and Xavier cautions him that harmony between humans and mutants must be achieved. Wolverine, Cyclops, and Professor Xavier discuss Jean's past. When the action shifts back to the school, Cyclops feels great relief when Wolverine informs him that Jean made the decision and that it was his. They depart together. A phoenix like formation emerges from the inundated alkali lake in the meantime.